Hello, darlings. Welcome back. Video number 3 of, it is August 12th in 3 minutes. So, I wanted to make this video specifically about chakras. And I have my reference material here. And to say again how technology tends to not work with me, I'm really sorry that I can't do screen sharing while I record, because I feel like a lot of these images would help to have, while I'm speaking, you guys cannot look at my face. You can instead look at the image, the picture. So, I'll start with the concept. Pretty much everyone's heard of indigo children, right? Well, we're adults now. So, some of us that are indigo adults have different things that we could universally have in common, like never feeling like you belong, always being more emotionally mature than your peers, having difficulty finding people that you could connect with deeply because you're constantly in search of depth. It's never superficial. It's so hard to be superficial. So finding those people that energetically stimulate you is a driving force. I think also along those lines are physical illness, especially autoimmune. Autoimmune, not autoimmunity, autoimmune. So endocrine, thyroid. Ironically, endocrine lines up right with your chakras, right? Your thyroid, which then regulates your pituitary pineal, all the brain chemicals that thyroid manages. Then in your endocrine, you have your pancreas, you have your sexual organs. There are a series of other ones, but that are key. And it's so interesting how perfectly endocrine system and chakras line up. So those of us that have this background that we can't necessarily relate to being of this earth. How else to say it? I have notes up here. That's why I'm kind of referencing. I think relationships is something we can universally agree on, that they're so difficult because we are highly empathetic, but that empathy is crippling in that we have to find ways to energetically cut off from others, because intimacy and emotional situations are too difficult to deal with in most cases. The depth of feeling is too much. Now senses that are heightened sense, like so bright I can't go outside sometimes, or every sound is so significant. In fact, there have been times where I thought I can't hear right, because if I'm in a room with a bunch of people and I need to listen to one person, I have to find a way to focus on them, or else I cannot hear the words they say. Just can't. So I'm sure that other people who are energetically inclined this way also deal with that. Now, let's see, so psychic abilities, so whether it be inner knowing, or there are a series of different senses beyond our 5 senses, right? So you got clairvoyance, clairsentience, clairaudience, and then there's you could hear things, see things, feel things. Now, feel things as in you walk in a room and you could feel energetically what's going on. Or the other kind of feeling, which is everything is just a no. You're not being told, there's no voice and there's no sound. You just know the truth. You know what's going to happen. You know, you're totally confident in the way things are going because you just have this inner knowing. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, until recently, I didn't even know how to access the truth of that, of myself. I knew it, but I didn't know how to say it. There we go. Okay. Then, personally, I find it hard to communicate in most cases because I have this logic. There's so much logic to my words, and creating, having a conversation, having a debate, any type of concept or any type of communication, I can easily step outside the emotional part of it. And that's not something everyone can do. So it's easy to come off as bossy or emotionless or just mean. People think I'm mean, which is the opposite of what I am. I just have trouble being able to communicate. So it's fascinating because I read these things and it's just so incredibly, it relates so much, it's shocking. Okay, then, animals. Interacting with animals. Totally cool. Totally like any, in raising my frequency lately, I've noticed the local, like the dog, next door neighbor dog, stop barking. The garden is thriving. And the weather has been perfect. I've not had one issue in my world, in my existence. There has been nothing negative going on. And I firmly believe that is as a result of raising frequency, because by you being in tune with your spirituality and your human evolution, you can then help anyone in your vicinity. I mean, you can help a whole city. I mean, dude, it's crazy. And one thing I've accessed recently is my own healing power, internal healing power. Never before have I been able to do that, including my dog as she was beginning to die. It was only 2 days, and then I had to put her down. I would not let her suffer. But I could tell that her pain levels would lower if I would touch her and focus my inner light on her too. So, then you guys, I mean, I'm sure some people can relate to this, but charisma, and everyone's drawn to you and always has been. See, that's the thing, is a lot of these traits, they're not new. They've been around forever. I've never really had a way to discuss them before. I mean, my mom tells me I'm autistic. I'm on the Asperger's spectrum of thought and emotion. And I don't agree. I just think that I'm different. So, yeah. Including a focus of negative attacks. There's like a concerted effort to gaslight me through technology. Okay? I cannot explain it without being part of it, because it's so many things that go so wrong constantly. Especially when I have intent to then follow through with action, then it stops me. It's fascinating. So, yeah. So let's see, Indigo Adult. That's what I found within that context. Yeah. So, and along the lines of being a person who is a little different than everybody else and has always been different, for good, better or worse, whatever it is, it just is. There's also the concept that there's the subset of being the genetic path cutter, or a kind of a genetic blueprint for the future of the human body. And I could say with confidence that within that, there's definitely, like, let's see, I like to refer to energeticsynthesis.com. Lisa Rene is her name. And when one starts realizing that you're a path cutter or prototyper, you're experiencing the new template, okay? And in mind, you have to have patience, perseverance, endurance, and self-discipline. And it's absolutely true. These last 2 years in particular have been a nonstop battle of physical illness. So whatever miasma has built up in my genetic blueprint and my direct energetic aura, it has manifested into these different autoimmune diseases kicking in that I had, number one, when I was younger, and number two, that it's interesting. It's the past and the future. Because the past, it's a reemergence of something I had when I was very young. It's been under control until suddenly it wasn't. And then the future, which is rheumatoid arthritis, which is usually older people. And I was 32 with the first diagnosis, okay? So that's going into the epigenetics of myself and how I have many family members who have that later in life. So suddenly I'm getting a reemergence of the thyroid disease. So I had my thyroid removed when I was 11. Ironically, when September 11th happened, and then it regrew back and started working at the same level in 2020, the day before lockdown, which I find fascinating. I've analyzed this from all sides, and the fact that this strange result, strange growth, refunctionality of this, radio iodine, like radiation therapy, like killed it. It's dead. It's been dead for 20 years. Suddenly, it reemerged. At the time, I call myself the human consciousness Geiger counter, because whatever's happening, my body reflects it. It's crazy. So, there we go. I mean, I should get into that some other time a little further. But I think it's important that along the line of Indigo Adult, you also are this kind of path cutter, genetic path cutter, of determining, of showing how neurologic systems are affected in the process of human evolution. Now, you add in the sun currently, with all the crazy energetics coming from the sun, then you have a clear manifestation of certain ascension symptoms, like irregular heartbeat, or the blinding headaches, or seeing flashes. I mean, these are all, and particularly me, it's stomach upset, lower back pain, and head, which is all vagal nervous system, okay? Word for word, vagal nervous system. And when you look at energetics and interactions from the sun, which can affect your nervous system in such a way, and if it's already hyperstimulated, it throws you into this negative feedback loop if you can't get a hold on it. It all makes sense. So, thank you, darlings. I may have another video for you another time. For now, signing out. Stay awake, stay aware, and enjoy the world.